Hello and welcome to Inside Salem. I am your host, Mike Allen, and we're taping this show on Wednesday, November 20th, 2024 at SATV Studios on Derby Street. On this show, we try to take a look at the local issues and do some in-depth analysis of what's happening locally. And for that, we've just assembled a team of local experts, and we have Teasie Riley-Goggin, Salem's political analyst.
Nice being here, Mike.
We have Dominguez, former counselor at large.
Glad to be here, Mike. Thank you.
And Tom Furey, former school committee member, former counselor at large, and current planning board member. Welcome all.
Thank you.
Today's topics are going to be included. We're going to be talking about a grant the city's received, coastal resiliency. Lee Fort Terrace breaks ground. Just talking about the Salem's AAA bond, AA bond rating and what they owe, and the fire from the Salem Woods area, and increase for the number of tourists coming to Salem this Halloween. So those are going to be our topics. Before we get into it, Bruce Guy, longtime city finance manager, and then moved over to the school side as the business manager when myself and Jim Fleming were first on the school committee. Actually, I think we voted against him, but we did get along with him quite well. He passed away, and it was very disappointing. I believe he was targeted. He was forced out and targeted by the previous administration, because of cost overruns and things like that. And again, at the time, I was fighting against it. Even though I had voted against him going on, I was fighting to keep his job, but it just didn't work. I just thought he was treated poorly by the previous administration. Anyways, he passed away, and
I had the pleasure of serving with Bruce too. He's a man of integrity, honesty, a real good man.
Yeah.
He could really bring the budget down to our level, really, to make it for the audience and for the taxpayers itself. So we'll miss him dearly. He was a good, faithful servant who got caught in the middle of a perfect storm situation. No way to go out. No way to go out.
Our condolences to his family and friends, and we're going to be praying for the peace and the comfort of his family. I know how high it is, but that's all we can send it to our love and prayers to the family.
Okay, well. Okay, before we get into our topics, Tom, you wanted to...
I appreciate the opportunity. 30 years ago, doesn't seem possible, 30 years ago, a group of good people got together for the Salem school system and formed what was called the Salem Education Foundation. And they tried to provide seed money for grants, innovative programs, imaginary and visionary programs that maybe the school budget couldn't handle. And they fundraised over 30 years, and John Keenan was a major force. He was a state rep for many years. He was a major force for the Salem Education Foundation. And I would go to all the fundraisers at the Hotel Hawthorne. And now Ben Allender, who is now the president of the Salem Education Foundation, and he's been there 13 years, Ben Allender, and he's very hardworking, loves Salem with a passion, really good for Salem. And every year I would donate $100 over the last 30 years, $100, and try out. And I got a phone call from Ben, and it's a fundraiser, and they raised about $70,000 this year for seed money grants. And he calls me up on Halloween night. Dominic, Mayor Pangello, pulled the chants out on the gazebo of the Salem Common on Halloween night, and he says, Tom, guess who won top prize? Well, it's like the lottery, you never expect to win situation. Right. Well, the top prize is a trip for two anywhere in the world for 5 days. 5 days. So I said to myself, who'd want that trip? So I pick out my two Cambodian sons. They're Cambodian, and they're going to go to Cambodia for 5 days.
Yeah.
It's about $5,000 to $6,000 expense situation, round trip ticket to Phnom Penh, the capital. And my oldest son is now 38 years old.
Yeah.
He was born in a refugee camp during the Pol Pot killing fields of Cambodia, and he lived there for 3 years in a refugee camp. 45,000 members.
Yeah.
That's the size of population of Salem, Massachusetts. And he learned Khmer, he learned traditions of Cambodia up until three years of age. Then the whole family moved to Lynn, and he was the negotiator for education, services, citizenship there over the years, because he knew Khmer. So I surprised him. I said to them Halloween night after I won, "You're going to Cambodia." Yeah. And I thought I would send them to Cambodia maybe for their honeymoons. Johnny Furey, my son, the other brother, my other son, is 31. And he speaks fluent English. He wasn't born in Cambodia. But his older brother was. So they're going sometime in 2025 to Cambodia to renew their roots. And Ben Allender was just a real professional. They're walking on water to go back to Cambodia to visit their roots and heritage there. So good news on the Salem front there. You never know when you win something there. I normally don't win, but I won top prize. I was tickle pink, and they're going routine.
Very good. Now, this is this the charity? Brendan Walsh, who was a panel member.
Oh, Dynamite.
This is the one that he was involved in.
No, he wasn't
involved.
This
is a different one. Okay.
Two different causes. The Salem Clothing Fund for schools, he was involved, and Ben, the whole Walsh family was involved in that over the years. And great. This is a separate, the Salem Education Foundation, and John Keenan was involved in that for many years, and Ben Allender took over, and he's a bright shining star for the city of Salem. He loves Salem. When he does tours and things like that for Salem, he's really good. He works with me at the PBS Museum too. He's
congratulations, Tom. That's a great news. I mean, I wish I can be one of the winners, but you're the winner.
I appreciate that.
Congratulate you. And I also wanted to commend that organization. I'm very familiar with. I go almost every year, and I think that's a great cause. I think that we all have to support a group of people when they get together to try to help, especially the most needed one, our children's education. So education is like everybody knows, is one of the treasure that we have as a community. So we need to maintain it the best we can.
Okay.
When the actor Jason Tatum came to town with his daughter did a report on witchcraft, and they stayed in the Salem Beverly area. And the girl was about 13, his daughter, and Jason Tatum's a very famous actor in different movies, and he came to the PBS Museum. Who gave him the guided tour of the history of Salem was Ben Allender.
Oh, okay.
He loves, and his mother taught many years at the Collins Middle School, Connie Allender, and she's very involved in the OTA program, the Japanese exchange program. So the Dynamite family. So thanks for the opportunity to speak.
Okay.
Yeah, before you get into your topics, every year you've helped out the fact that the Friends of the Council on Aging, we always have, for Thanksgiving.
Right.
And once again, it's upon us, and it's a wonderful time. And I would like to really and truly, I said to Andy Lapointe, who was our chairperson, president, I always give it to Mike, because Mike starts off with it, and then he winds up with it at the end of repeats it again. I said we get a double publicity.
Okay.
But the other thing is, there has been great improvement since on this show. We stress the fact that it is for people who are homebound.
Okay.
And not a free dinner that you put aside and have at a later date. And it has worked out. And we really want to thank the people for now that they realize how important that is. Because we have a lot of people that you don't realize who do not get a chance to get out and the rest of us.
I had to say that I volunteer almost every year into that event that the Friends has, which is very, very, very important. You had to see how many people at home waiting for the meals because they don't have family to have a meal in Thanksgiving. And I think that's made a huge difference. So I'm also wanted to say thank you to you guys. I think that you're doing a great job. Andy Lapointe and everyone that composes that group are doing it because we need those type of actions, especially during the holidays when people don't have family and they don't have way to eat.
Well, the wonderful thing is that on Thanksgiving Day, people, are with family, or they go here or they go there. But this almost like always, a great group of people show up to deliver these meals, and they're always there. Even today, at the People of Council of Aging, Rosanna, who has a great deal to do with setting it up, she was even saying to a few of the people from the committee, I don't think we really need you to come this year. We have so many people who volunteer. People are really wonderful, and we're very, very thankful for that. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
We got two good angels representing the Council on Aging very well on Thanksgiving. Thank you
Okay.
much. Thank you. Two good angels.
Okay, so Tom, I'm wondering if I can pick your brain here a bit, see if we get some information about some of the projects that are happening in town. Boston Bridge, what's going on with that?
Well, that's in the pipeline. That's in the pipeline. Lo and behold, it's been a long time coming, as we all know. We've been discussing there on Boston Bridge. It used to be called the Gateway Center.
Right.
It's a major corridor going to Peabody, coming in from Peabody, Boston Street, Bridge Street, major, the Council on Aging, as we talked about the Council on Aging, right there. That was all part of the package deal back in the Kim Driscoll Yusevich years to have a Council on Aging in Salem. And now that's hopefully off the on the right track situation there. So you see two cranes there, visibly two cranes there. But I don't know whether it's there. The permits have been pulled, and I asked the legal city solicitor for an opinion, and that developer can develop now what he wants from those. It hasn't expired. It has not expired.
Okay, typically, don't they?
They do. They normally do.
Okay, so how did it end up not that it didn't expire?
That's why I wanted to make sure it was done illegally, because I didn't have that expertise. So the board requested, the planning board requested unanimously an opinion from the city solicitor, Beth Bernard. She says that can go forward there. That developer may not want to. He may pull out and have something else, or a new developer may buy him out routine.
But he can do that original 117 condominiums,
Yes.
if I recall?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think we all remember, before that condominium project, there was supposed to be a Costco, a drugstore there.
Right,
a
CVS,
drugstore,
I think.
CVS type drugstore. So if that doesn't go there, they could have actually, in writing, on that Boston and Bridge Street, another huge storage place across the street there near Dunkin' Donuts.
Right, yeah.
And that would be a disaster to have a huge storage place there. So I hope something positive comes there, whether it's housing or commercial. There, it's long overdue. It's an eyesore.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, next, Tom, if I could again get an update. The Crescent Lot project and the two buildings on Federal Street, where are we on that?
And that's thank you much for bringing that up. Tomorrow night, we have a planning board meeting on Thursday night, tomorrow night. And the green light will be given to the two courthouses on the corner of Washington Street and Federal Street. They're built during the Civil War. What do you do with these two old Civil War courthouses? One's concrete, one's brick. One was the law library at one time. Absolutely beautiful law library, beautiful fireplace and law library. So the green light will be given tomorrow night. I believe I'm part of that green light. 15 units of housing in the concrete one, the courthouse concrete one. 15 units, low income, moderate income.
Yeah.
And well designed, 1-2 bedrooms, 14 units. But what do you do with the brick building that used to be the law library, has a fireplace 3 stories high, Yeah. Absolutely drop dead beautiful if you've seen it there. So that's got to be a more of a community center for functions like weddings, bar mitzvahs, and things like that. Small venue, maybe 40, 50 to 100, I think will be
It's a private owner? Private owner?
Private, exactly. So
But Tom, didn't they change, at the last minute, didn't they decide that they were going to take and put almost like the ones that are almost like half underground in the county commissioner's office?
Yes, it's well designed. So the housing will be some underground, yes.
Yeah.
Because that's the way the building is. It's almost like a 2.5-story building. And there's going to be 14 units, 3 floors there of apartments there. So they're well designed. So some will be below, exactly.
But obviously they have windows.
They'll have windows.
Just above ground level.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because
And they'll be
protected
protected.
for
They'll be
windows
protected.
in all bedrooms and living rooms.
And as you see it now, if you go past it now, the courthouses, it looks like a a kamikaze situation of cars coming in and out of the courthouse. They're like sardines. It's like Russian roulette getting a car out of those two courthouses. It's a very busy probate court, the Michael Wayne courthouse, the Bushko courthouse situation. Very busy area. They're doing away with those parking spots. It's going to be green space done by Mike Blyer, who's a Salem designer on North Street. He's designing the green space. Absolutely beautiful. Much better than cars being there and concrete.
I often wonder how difficult it is for these buildings, like, it's almost like granite, to heat them and keep them warm, It's almost like the old castles from a long time ago. Yeah,
Wind Developers is doing that, those two courthouses in across the street, as you spoke about, the Crescent Lot.
Yeah.
And they're all, I think tomorrow night will be the green light.
Yeah.
It's come a long way. It's taken years. I was on the SRA, the Salem Renewal Authority, for 5 years with Domingo. I was the city council representative for 5 or 6 years, seeing the Crescent Law come along the way. It's been a slow process, like a turtle. It's like, so we're going to see a future of the Crescent Lot very soon, and the two courthouses very soon. I think the money from the state for housing, the bonding for housing that took place under the Healy-Driscoll administration is the catalyst to get that going. So it's progress being made tomorrow night, the green light for the two courthouses and the Crescent Lot very soon afterwards.
Green light most likely from the planning board.
Yes.
And tomorrow would be the meeting which is going to happen before this show airs, and the meeting will be Thursday, November 21st.
Yes.
Okay.
And the Salem Renewal Authority really has authority over those two.
Yeah.
The City Council gave that to the Salem Renewal Authority. They did the police station along the way in different other parts of Salem. So that they're very excited about having that done. It's long overdue.
Okay. Now, just to go back a bit, the first property we're talking about, which I just referred to as Boston Bridge, just to explain what it is, that's the property that's vacant now next to the Community Life Center, which is more commonly known as the Senior Center, right next to there, that vacant lot on the corner of Boston and Bridge Street. That was the first property we're talking about. And the Crescent Lot property that I mentioned it's next to the MBTA garage. There's a parking lot there, which actually belongs to the city. It sort of looks like it's part of the MBTA thing, but it actually belongs to the city. It's referred to as the Crescent Lot because it's sort of shaped like a crescent. And that was tied to the two, the County Commissioners building and the Superior Court, was it?
Yes.
The old Superior Court building on the corners of Washington and Federal Street. So that was that. Okay, next project I want to talk about is Life Bridge. What's happening with that?
I don't know. It hasn't come before the planning board yet. I think maybe Domingo knows a little bit more.
I hear that they changed a little bit the design. I think they make a decision to lower to one floor down.
Okay.
And they're still in discussion. I don't think anything's going through yet, but I know that the neighborhood association is very active and very involved in trying to get something that fit into the neighborhood. I think something's going to come in an agreement between both groups to make sure that both have a way. I see the issue, me as a resident and as a former city councilor, in a way that both need to come to the conversation to try to get the best out of the situation, because we know how needed it is for the group of homeless, which Life Bridge provide, but we also know the good that is represent to have a good quality of life for that neighborhood. So coming to an agreement between both, I think that's the best solution that can happen, and hopefully that's going to happen soon.
Okay, right.
But we know, Tom, has David Sweetser, has he made any appearance? Have you seen him anywhere?
We tried, Domingo and I tried very hard to get him to the city council to make a personal appearance. He was a ghost. He was a ghost over the years. We never got him to come over the years.
Never.
Domingo.
And David Switzer is the
Owner.
Sweetser, he was the owner.
Property, that owns, it's owned by a company, of course, but he was the owner of the company that owns the property in the corner of Bridge and Boston Street.
He got away with murder over the years. Murder.
Yeah,
That should have been developed.
Yeah, I mean,
long ago.
I don't understand how we ended up with a open-ended.
I totally agree.
I mean, it's been, what, 14, 15 years?
At
Yes.
least. At least.
Right.
And
Almost to the beginning of the
usually there's
Driscoll
like a
administration.
5-year or a 7-year window or something. I
She
just
tried
think,
hard, but he didn't budge at all.
right. I just think that I don't know, that warrants an investigation.
Yeah, his company is High Rock.
Yeah.
Good,
Okay.
good memory.
And it looks like it's under, full construction and everything. Just sort of timeline, if you know, Tom, about Bertini's property.
Oh, Bettini's it's in the full
Excuse me,
construction.
one more. Bertini's
ahead,
property is the property at Canal Street, where it meets sort of Jefferson Ave in that vicinity. That's right near Rosie's Pond, which is behind it.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's a small little pond, not a lot bigger than this room, I don't think. Well, it's bigger than that. And and that used to be Bertini's restaurant on that property, but there's a lot more land there than that. So I just wanted to.
Bettini's a real landmark for all of us growing up in Salem, Bettini's restaurant.
Right.
So it's 5 buildings, 240 units,
Yeah.
middle income, some low income.
Yeah.
Commercial and downstairs, only in one of the buildings. I think most 5 buildings altogether.
Yeah.
One building will have commercial on the first floor,
Right.
the Bettini's lot itself, where Bettini's was
Right,
on
right,
Canal
yeah.
Street. The rest of the 4 buildings, very tight, very little room in between these five buildings,
Right.
240 units. They're going like gangbusters now, and I think there'd be a long waiting list to get into those units. I was the only member of the planning board to vote against it because Rosie's Pond has a way of flooding over sometimes.
Right, yeah.
on Jefferson Avenue. So I was the only vote against that development. But he's also doing that same, the developer of that site, Bettini's, is also doing the one near the North River. Those units there, near Burnham Boatyard and Ferris Junkyard, he's
Okay.
doing those too. And he did a lot of Mason Street, Juniper Point it's called, Juniper Point. He did a lot of Mason Street condominiums, Bridge Street, a ton of condominiums on Bridge Street. So he's a lifelong resident of Salem. He lives on Juniper Point, named it Juniper Point. And
And the
it's
Willow.
going like gangbusters now. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But I voted against it.
But that's not going to be condo there. That's going to be rental.
condo, apartments,
That's
yeah.
rental.
Apartments.
Okay. And parking is not underground. Parking.
Yes, under the units there'll be parking there, and that's the part that I voted against it because eventually it's going to flood. We used to call the sports complex at Salem State University, not too far down the street in Canal Street, Lake Salem State, because you went to Salem
Yeah,
State.
right,
Lake
yeah.
Salem State when that flooded
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
That's a very flood zone.
Yeah,
area.
you would come down to your car and the water would be right up to the door.
Yes.
Yeah. It would,
Not good memories.
Yeah.
I look at all the building that's going on in the canal and what is proposed to there, but I haven't heard any talk about putting in sets of lights or pedestrian lights because we're going to have a lot of people on Canal Street. I mean, a lot of apartments, a lot of families. And right now, you can go all the way from Mill Hill all the way to the corner of Canal Street and Loring Avenue, and you don't have any lights.
Yeah.
It's awful. If you want to cross, God help you.
That's a good
Yeah.
That's
point.
on the fast track because of the MBTA wants housing along the MBTA train route situation.
Yeah.
And that's very controversial, but
Yeah,
that was
they
one of
will,
the first
yeah.
ones given the green light for 240 units right on the train route situation. With Salem State University right nearby, it's like kamikaze walking across the street, even with the lights there, limited lights. It takes 5 minutes to go through Lafayette Street, Jefferson Avenue, Canal Street with a set of lights for people crossing the street. It's very challenging,
Yeah.
the university and so on, and a bicycle path and a walking path nearby. It's going to be a very busy area, very challenging.
But I would hope, Tom, that you bring it up ahead of time and not wait until we have so many people and then an accident, and then they say, oh, we should have thought about that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They
You're right.
should be talking, and you're the guy to do it.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Let's talk about our ballot questions that we had in Massachusetts. We had 5 of them. First one was to give the power to the state auditor to audit the legislature. It passed by a resounding margin. So they've got close to 72% of the vote. And the House and Senate, the House, I guess, has decided they're going to okay an outside audit of them, but they're not going to let the state auditor come in there. And basically saying to the 72% of Massachusetts residents, the heck with you. But we'll see how that fills out in the courts. Anyone
It's a
have
slap in the
anything
face
say
to the voters. 72% of the voters
Yeah.
voted for an audit. You would get an audit in your business. We get audits in kind of from the IRS situation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a slap in the face to all the voters who voted, thinking that would be passed, because no one should be exempt from that situation. They're afraid of too many dead bodies up in the State House situation there being found, and too many accounts being found. But it's a disgrace.
Yeah.
They should be audited. Long overdue.
Actually, the fact that this shows even more that they should be audited. Okay. Second question was the doing away with MCAS. It did pass to do away with MCAS. I don't know the numbers on it, but
yeah, I think it was very, very well clear that people wanted to get out of that measurement to our students. But I hear in the news that they're probably going to bring it to court again. That one too, because that one, some people who oppose, some educators or administrators, they said that they need to bring it back again. So they're going to try to bring it to the court again.
Okay.
So which I don't understand.
The third one, I forgot what the third one was.
Tips.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. The raising the minimum wage on tipped employees, like restaurant waiters and waitresses, and those type of persons that get paid sub-minimum wage because they supplement their income with tips. There was a group, an outside group. There's not even a group of waiters and waitresses or restaurant or anything. Just an outside group came in and wanted to bump that minimum wage up, and then they would get their tips on top of that. The wait staff was concerned that what would happen is that the patrons would go in. No, wait a second. They just got a big raise and tip less, and they felt they would make less money that way than if they were, got this bump and raise, and so they were against it. That was defeated. Fourth one was psychedelic mushrooms, which was defeated. And then the fifth one was the right to unionize for rideshare, like Uber, Lyft, and those type of things there. And that did pass. And we'll see where that ends, because at this point in time, there's so many drivers that work for both companies, and they work. You can work for an hour. You can say, when I have lunch, I'm going to take 2 or 3 people around, just make a little extra money at lunch. You're not going to be able to do that now. It just seemed like it really works against.
I had the opportunity to speak with one of my friends who actually is in the business, and he seemed to be happy with the decision that people took into that. You're gonna find some people who doesn't really agree with what's going on, but the fact that they're gonna be organized, that's what they actually say, that they're gonna be organized. They're gonna be able to claim the right, and also be able to organize and make sure that the business is being controlled by a rule, so everybody had the same playing field.
Okay.
So that helped a lot into them to be organized. We know that we in the United States, union play a major role, especially in getting people right.
Yeah.
And that's helped a lot. So.
Okay.
But that was only for Massachusetts, right?
Oh, right. Yeah, this
Right.
is the Massachusetts.
Yeah.
But it takes so much effort to put something on the ballot, to get so many signatures.
Yeah.
It's a lot of effort. We had a lot of choices.
Not only that, the fact that people exercise their rights. Why are we encouraging people to get, especially the newcomers, whoever coming from a different country, to be citizens and to get the right to vote and make your voice to be heard? And when you go out to the pool and you do exercise your rights and majority win, how you gonna tell people that's the best thing to do? I mean, if we put it in the ballot, let's make sure that we really honor the voice of the people,
yeah.
and let's continue to move forward.
Okay. I'm a little bit remiss. I meant to, before we got into the show at all, I wanted to congratulate the Salem High School Marching Band for winning first place in the New England Championships. That's a hard thing. I don't care what your first place in. Finishing in first place in pretty much anything is hard.
I had the opportunity to be on the Veterans celebration, Memorial Day celebration a week ago, I think. And I hear from many elected officials congratulate the marching band. And I had to say that seeing those youths working and practice and dedicate themselves to put together that beautiful band and being number one, That's very, very, very big, and I commend the administration and the people who had to do with the band and every one of the players.
Yeah.
Every one of them.
Yeah.
Cindy
Excellent.
Nipikowski is the band director for Performing Arts, and she's turned that whole department around in her 37 years. And this is the first time they won on that level situation. I can remember being on the school committee way back when. The marching band couldn't even form a circle in the, say, Thanksgiving game situation. She's turned it around to really a whole new level. And Ben Chernock, who's taking over now the reins of the band with her 37 years of experience, she's turned that department into amazing. So kids really want to come to Salem High School because of the athletic, the drama, the music programs. And it's a good incentive for students to stay in Salem, the new high school, a new performing arts center. So Cindy and Ben Chernock, my hats off to all of you. And the whole band. It's amazing.
I agree.
Okay.
And when did they win this? See, I went out of commission. When does this come through?
I read in the newspaper back on...
Last month, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. The beginning of...
First time in 37 years.
Yeah,
First time.
beginning of the
Below
month,
that
yeah.
level.
Yep.
First time.
No, I
Amazing.
think that's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. One more project I'd like to talk about. Lee Fort Terrace broke ground. What's the timeline on that, if you know,
That's quick.
Tom?
I really not. I think the city council has been more involved even after
okay.
I left the city
Yeah,
council.
yeah. Last thing I hear about it is that they gonna go ahead and give the green light, but it's still to solve some of the situations or how they're gonna relocate the people that are there. That's one of the issues that is being there. I haven't heard anything in that regard.
Okay.
So
But I did read in the paper that on, what the heck was the date here? I wrote tomorrow's date on here. Must have been in today's paper, that they broke ground.
okay.
It came before the planning board, like walking past, but we didn't have any jurisdiction over the buildings. It's the Salem Housing Authority
Salem
that had
Housing
jurisdiction.
Authority, yeah, you're right.
But it didn't come to the planning board. So a bit more the
yeah,
city
it was the
council.
city council, but I left city council.
There's
almost,
two new
almost a year
basketball
ago.
courts
Yeah,
down in
yeah,
Palmer
yeah.
brand new basketball courts, and walking paths, and that's going to be a showpiece there.
Yeah.
Those developments were long overdue for change,
Okay.
renovation.
And you know, there is a question out there on whether or not the Bentley School will remain the Bentley School and remain open. We're watching that very closely
And how,
because, you know, there's that piece of land down there. Stop and think of how many high-rises they could actually build right there.
okay,
Yeah,
right on the waterfront, you mean?
that's right.
Okay.
They're
Well-
building now as we speak. But they're building right now. That they're on is Colonial Towers.
Yeah.
What's called Colonial Towers. They're building now as you see the construction foundations being laid for that development, private development.
Okay. Okay.
And the other thing, you know, things that I'm remiss on too is that I heard at our meeting today that the Council on Aging just received 2 new electric vans within the past few weeks. Was that in the paper?
No.
I haven't seen it.
Well, yes, and they're going to have a ribbon cutting, and they're going to have a celebration next week, I think it is. That yes, 2 new vans. That's from the Department of Transportation. And when I heard that, I thought it was our new Department of Transportation, meaning Salem, because we do have a new one, do we not? Haven't they changed the Traffic Commission to the Department of Transportation?
I haven't heard that either.
Yeah, there's about.
I mean, that's why you're the expert on this.
Yeah, there's about.
Indeed.
This is a Department of Transportation. I believe it's a committee it's not just a committee now. They all have jobs. They all have their personal cards that they give out and everything. Salem has a lot of people on their payroll now.
Yes.
A lot of people.
Yes.
It's a busy little city.
Yeah.
Very busy.
Well, I pointed out, that, or one of the things I talk about is Salem was reaffirmed to have their AA bond rating, which is quite good. But Salem owes $116 million.
We owe.
Yeah, that's what we have bonded out at this point in time. $116 million is bonded out. And our annual budget is just over $200 million now. I don't know. I just think we spend so much, and one of the things I did, on previous municipal election years, is I analyzed from when Mayor Driscoll took over, and how we compared to our neighbors. I picked out Beverly, Peabody, and Lynn because of the fact that Salem has a good-sized population of English as a second language. So I felt the Lynn comparison was also in there, and our budget has grown so much faster than these other city and state, other cities. I mean, our budget was very similar to Beverly. We were just slightly ahead of Beverly, had a little more population than Beverly, and our budget was a little larger than Beverly. And now it's like 35% higher than Beverly. Actually, I don't know. That was a couple of years ago. I'm sure it hasn't improved much. So again, it just seems like we have really ramped up hiring managers.
Yeah, but the other thing too is when they say, Mike, when they talk about how great our bond rating is, it just means that we're just big borrowers. I mean, is that something to be proud of?
Right, but
I don't think so.
Well, the idea is that there's people who are borrowing a lot, borrow more than Salem, who don't have good bond ratings. It means we get the best interest rate because our ability to pay it back. That's basically the triple
So that means we have
bond
good
rating is
credit.
based on what the bond rating agent rating group feels the likelihood of paying back, or how well they'll pay it back, etc.
When I hear that and I hear about the bond rating and how low the interest is, I often think of the student loans out there and why they don't go and try to get the same type of deal for your student loans that are out there. As sooner or later these kids are going to have to pay back. Why they can't get a lower rate just like that to give the kids a break?
Well, what happened there was, I know when I got a student loan back in the early 70s, it was like 3% or something like that. It was very, very low. You could take the money and put it into a savings account and pay it back and make money on it. It was poorly designed. And so that was back then. And then the problem was, is they kept making, everyone would get a student loan. Well, more and more private companies would write them, and more and more people were taking loans, and the price of college has exploded because the fact that the student loans were available so readily, so the thing that happened was, people were borrowing, and the interest rate was high because of the number of people that were defaulting, and it went out of the government's hands and went into not even banks. I mean, it went into these aftermarket type places, and that's what drives the interest up. But yeah, I mean, back when I was going to college. It was, a very modest price, and to pay back those loans. Did you get student loans when you were, when you went to school? Did you have student loans?
No, fortunately, no.
Yeah,
Very fortunate.
I did.
yeah. Actually,
I was very poor.
the strange thing was, I actually just had forgotten about this. I had no desire to take out I was working close to full time. I didn't need the money, but I got a letter in the mail that said. And this is also typical of government, and this shows where they were out of whack. It says, I have a grant. Now, I didn't apply for a grant. I didn't expect a grant. I didn't need a grant. I mean, Salem State back then was $300 a semester. I mean, even in those dollars, that was very, very cheap. And then another $150 for books, or maybe $200 for books. Student fees, again, you're talking about the whole semester with student fees and everything, not counting meal plans or housing, was $600 a semester. So it was very, very, very affordable. And so I said, well, I don't believe I have a grant, but I'm certainly going to show up at this appointment because what the heck, they're going to give me free money. Why wouldn't I take that chance? I showed up for it, figuring they were going to say, no, I'm sorry, that was a mistake. You don't qualify for a grant. You make too much money. And they said, oh, you do have a grant, and here's a student loan. And I said, well, I really don't want the student loan. I really just want the grant. Well, they said, well, we can't give you the grant if you don't take the student loan. So, of course, I took the student loan because they gave me, like every dollar I borrowed, they gave me $1 in free money. So why wouldn't I not take it? But they should never have offered it to me. Again, this is
but the other thing is
almost 50 years ago. So
you see colleges now with the salaries that these professors are getting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right up there with your private colleges.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that's not the way it's supposed to be.
Right, yeah. And again, and the reason why the colleges have been able to get away with it is because the fact that we do not turn down anyone for a student loan. It doesn't matter anything. And back in the old days, you had to have at least some sort of financial thing and I can understand saying, okay, fine, this person's coming from a very poor family and will not have a chance. So the thing is this: you do your grants, you do some student loans, but the student loans with these high interest rates, they just kill people. Particularly since they're getting out of school with $100 grand and loan obligations. And how do you save for a house, get married, these type of things with that. So it was just a big change from back then. But
in 20 years of the Driscoll-Pangello administrations, when you think Peabody's now trying to catch up a brand new high school, it's on the fast track now.
Yeah.
Beverly, a brand new high school in the last 20 years, a brand new police station. They're remodeling their old city hall, changing their city hall. So they're trying to catch up into the 21st century, where in the last 20 years, the Driscoll-Pangello administration has bonded,
Yeah.
and they've got a good bonding rate. But a lot of good things have happened with those bonds and our credit rating.
actually, under the Driscoll-Pangello administration, no schools were built. None. The schools that were built, there may have been one finished during it, but it was done during the Yusevich administration. So don't give Kim credit for that, because she had nothing to do with that. Again, it was always, so she was on there when they did the $70 million remodeling to Salem High School, which I don't understand how we could do a $70 million remodel, 15 years ago, and now have to replace the building. It doesn't make any sense to me. We just, pour money down the drain. To me, a building that was built, Collins Middle School, which was the high school when I was going there, I assume you as well.
Yes.
I mean, that was built over 100 years ago, solid as a rock. The Salem High School was built in the 70s. My younger brother, started there as I think a junior in high school, and they're talking about that it's too far gone to save. And it was built for a population that's so huge. I mean, the building is huge for a Salem population because of the fact that they went on the basis of the baby boomers were this, and this, and they just, didn't think that was going to tail off. The population was going to go down. And so they built this building with like 2,500 capacity, and it's, and it's like 1,200 students, or maybe less.
No more than that.
Yeah, so it just seems like you should be able to remodel this building. Because if the school is twice the size it need be, okay, fine. Well, model this, third of the building or fourth of the building here for the next 3 years. And you just close that part off because you have extra capacity. It's just, we waste so much money in government. We waste it. It's just pouring it down the drain. How can you build a building 50 years ago and say it's not adequate now? When you have another school that's 100 years old, that's still going strong.
That's right. And the other thing too is now I have thought for a while that the Boys and Girls Club, they've been at the old high school for a long time, and I thought that they should have made a move a long time along the line. But right now, with the idea that they are going to what? They are going to take the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades out of this the Salt and Salt School. That they decided that definitely?
No, I haven't heard
I believe
of
it's
it.
going to be a united middle school at a new high school, a middle school, comprehensive middle school, and a comprehensive high school, all on one campus.
Right.
And I think some of the classes now from Salt and Salt School, which we repaired over the years, they didn't do a good job over the years at Salt and Salt School, they're being transferred now to the Collins Middle School.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm in agreement with that. I'm the board of directors for the Boys and Girls Club, and I think for the past maybe 10 or 5 so years that the board is trying to get a place to have the club, and they haven't found any.
but, you know,
And there is none help from no one. There's a lot of actions that the board is doing to try to get places, but they're so limited because there's no places around.
Right.
And cost a lot of money. So
yeah.
I
Yeah, well,
think
they
that
were
the city
at,
had to look into that and
they were-
maybe,
they were-
find a way to
what
do
was-
something with that.
what was the church, that building they were at, on Hawthorne Boulevard?
Oh, the
Oh, St. Mary's?
St. Mary, yeah.
That
It's
was there.
empty.
They were there for a
They
while.
was there, but it's that's a
That's condemned now,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah.
well, right,
But they
and they
didn't-
moved to Collins, and but how long, they've been in Collins, for 4 years?
4 or 5 years.
Oh,
Four or five.
with that at least, and,
No,
and
no,
then
it's
some.
only about
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, more, 7 or 8 years, if I remember
Really?
correctly.
but they don't
Yeah.
have a place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, where do you put them? I mean, in other words, I mean, out of all the organizations, they are, really, really supporting the no place else to go type after school program.
Well, I had to say
just
that-
think it really, you have like the YMCA. I mean, they're doing fundraisers all the time, and this type of thing. You just don't get that with the Boys and Girls Club. It's much more, like the YMCA. I mean, you have a lot of adult memberships that are relatively high in price, or certainly from back in the old days when they were like dirt cheap.
Well, we thought LaRue, who was the head of the everything at the high school and maintenance and everything,
building manager.
we kind of heard, we thought he was intimating that the down across from the Salt and Salt on the back end of it, that area alongside of Palmer's Cove, that they would build a Boys and Girls Club there.
Okay. but what
Then
about
this was
money?
a number of years ago. But now, I mean, I think that's gone by the wayside
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
See, I don't have a problem with the Boys and Girls Club being there. I mean, what's the problem with it?
Yeah, and I had to say that the Boys and Girls Club is an organization that actually provide a lot of help for the working class of Salem, because they take care of their kids while they're working.
Yeah.
It is a program that is very, very important for the economy and for the well-being of the city as a
Yeah.
whole. I know the YMCA also kind of, in some way, they kind of, have some send services, but the YMCA, I mean, the Boys and Girls Club, it is an organization that is really providing service to the most needed one at this point. After school program for a very low a fee that can allow anyone that is working that doesn't have the money to send the money to their kids to a daycare, private daycare.
Right.
The Boys and Girls Club is there for them. So the city and all of the organization, everybody together, should look at that organization and try to help to find a place who can provide service.
Yeah,
for
yeah. I
kids.
mean, again, and I don't have a problem with them using the school building. I mean, the school building belongs to the citizens of Salem, and this is being used by the citizens of Salem.
Well, I'd like to have
Yeah, but
Joanne
the-
Scott.
but
She's
the other-
amazing. She's turned that Boys and Girls Club now at the Collins Middle School into the 21st century. So she's looking for a permanent site. She would love a permanent
Right,
site.
I'm
with
sure
that
they would
site.
all love it.
And Salt School would be an ideal site somewhere along the line if it's not going to be fully used.
Okay, yeah.
But the other thing is, why are we building new buildings, new schools, new this, new that, new swimming pools, and the YMCA putting them in charge of it? I mean, the build, pay, borrow. I mean, and
$116 million plus.
that's right. And if the school, they are talking about a new school, and how much is it going to cost? Have they given a figure?
The superintendent appeared before the city council recently talking about the plan going ahead. But it's 3 years down the line. They're still in the drawing. They just hired a firm to put it into reality stage. And it's going, we will see a brand new high school and a brand new middle school on the campus of that site now within about 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, and the thing is this, I mean, it's going to be the Salem residents are going to be paying to the tune of $50 million, I think.
Minimum.
Right. That's
Yeah,
what
well,
not the school itself. That's the part that's not covered by the school board, the Massachusetts School Building Association, whatever they call it.
Well,
Which, on the
Salem-
other hand, is money that still belongs to the Massachusetts taxpayers. So it's not like it's free money come from. It's still coming from us.
We used to get 90% in the old days.
Right. The ones
Yeah,
that
we got
all the ones that
90%.
Usavich did were all done at 90%.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the last one that was built was Nathaniel Bowditch.
Yes.
That under but we did Ridgecraft. We did a remodel of Salt and Stall. That was under Harrington. Salt and Stall and Collins, and they were done very poorly, and actually malfeasance. I mean, it was actually
Indeed.
not
Bottom line.
accidental, because on the Salt and Stall School, underneath the roof, and I'm not a roofer, so I don't know, there was no flashing, and I don't even know what that means. But I do know
That's basic to
flashing
have
is
that.
expensive,
Basic.
and the fact that caused the building to rot, and so that's one thing. And then what do we have to do when we built Witchcraft? We had to hire that same contractor because of the bidding laws.
Low bid.
Yeah, and that there were some improvements because we could write the thing better. The RFP or whatever that we wrote was written better, and we had some more teeth in there for that, because at that point in time, one of the things they did was there was an area near the roof where they didn't insulate, and we had a cold snap. The pipe broke, like in the first year that the school was open, in front of it. But we were able to get to the contractor for that. And it was a long time, and I don't remember all the details because that was like from 20 years ago. But yeah, but you had to go back and hire this same person who clearly and the other problem was the city of Salem lost $4 million, because of the I guess the students from Salt and Stall were at St. Anne's. Was that what the ones that was at
That's right,
St.
St.
Anne's?
Anne's.
Yeah, they were at St. Anne's School. And there was $4 million worth of cost associated with it, which were lost in records when the city of Salem moved the City Hall annex from 1 Salem Green to what number Washington? 120 Washington.
121, yes.
Yeah, and the records got lost, so we couldn't improve it. But so there was all these different things, and they took it out of our current budget. That was part of the problem that caused the Bruce Guy thing, is that we
Exactly.
lost that $4 million.
Exactly.
And I remember saying, and I said, look, you can't blame me, because I was on the school committee at the time, because I wasn't on the school committee when this happened. You can't blame the mayor because he wasn't mayor when that happened. You can't blame pretty much anyone on the city council because most of them weren't on there at that time when this all happened. But here it is, the city of Salem, the taxpayers are out for over $4 million, and that's what it was. They were out,
It was a perfect storm for the new administration. Driscoll
Yeah.
coming in, she had to borrow from the state a bond
Yeah.
from the state, millions of dollars just to get us out of the ink.
And that's when they put in that contentious trash fee, and Bruce Guy, got blamed for a lot of this stuff at the school because he paid bills with, they basically straddled the year. So in other words, bills that came in June supposed to be paid with June money. Well, we didn't have any money in June. We spent it all out. So we paid it in July money, which is the next year. So he kicked the can down the road. Now, he shouldn't have done that without bringing it before the school committee. But he paid an invoice that belonged to the school system. So it was, and the thing was, unbeknownst to the school committee, the mayor changed the way that the health insurance was counted. Now, one of the things I said when I was on the school committee is, food service is losing money, and some of the longtime school committee members would make, oh no, it's making money. I said no, because we're paying $150,000. It's making $50,000. You're claiming, but we're paying $150,000 in benefits.
Benefits.
And the school committee said, oh no, that's being paid from the city side. And I said, it's being paid for by the residents of Salem. It's not on the city side. Everything's on the city side. So you can say it's over there. So Mayor Driscoll changed the way that it was, the bookkeeping was. It didn't cost the city of Salem anymore, but it came out of the school budget. So we had to cut other things until because of it, and we couldn't cut anything. Nothing was brought before us to cut. So because of it, that's why Mr. Guy did that. And and again, he should have brought it before the school committee and say, look, because and the mayor didn't inform the school committee either. It was not done properly.
It was a perfect storm for everybody became victims in that perfect storm.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Okay.
what you're really saying is that the taxpayers are left holding the bag.
Yes.
And
all
that
these
bag
cases.
is actually, as far as I can see, fool's gold. and we're the fools, right? Yeah.
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 Okay, a couple of quick hits here because we only have 2 minutes left in the show. 37% increase of visitors for Halloween this year. It's good for the businesses, not so good for traffic. But as I say most every year, it really is good for the residents of Salem financially because we have a stronger commercial tax base because of this, which means that the residential taxes, as high as they may be, would be higher still if not for this. So it does compensate the residents. Salem Woods and behind the Walmart have been having on and off forest fires because of the dry conditions. On one day, it was smoke was so bad the school was dismissed.
Into that, I like to inject that and congratulate 9 or 10 firefighters who retired.
Okay.
Combined, they made 225 years of service, and I happened to be in that ceremony. One of them is our colleague, Tim Flynn, who actually retired, and after 31 years of service, we want to say thank you for their service and dedication. And when we see the type of tragedy, we think about them because they put their life on the line, and we had to be able to at least be in gratitude to that group of people.
Okay.
Well, it was a real team effort by the fire department, the regional level too, to come to that level. It was very scary for that Walmart area, Salem Woods.
Yeah.
Very scary.
Chief
They really
Diane,
raised the
I had the opportunity to speak with him about it. He said he got allergy in his eye for the smoke trying to condemn the fire. So he's really, really doing a great job as a chief of the fire department. Yeah. And all of them combined.
Yeah. One other thing is the city of Salem, along with Marblehead, but I don't have that number, is receiving a coastal resilience grant of almost $420,000. I guess that's to help with building things to prevent flooding.
It's nice to partner with other cities and towns like Marblehead and Beverly. We all share that in common to combine with that leadership and potential to get better funding and maybe better results.
Yeah. Also, ongoing problem. Salem Peabody did it, and then Salem added. Started up as well, where they have put cameras on school buses, and they are just there's just lots of incidences where where motorists are passing when the school buses are stopped with their lights flashing, etc. And besides being against the law to do that, it's also very dangerous. Some of these school buses, children are 5 years old getting off there, and they're not always the most aware about traffic. So it's if you're a resident out there and you see the school bus, yes, it's inconvenient. No one likes getting stuck behind the school bus on the morning on their way to work. But it's just if you hit a child, not only is it going to inconvenience you more, it's going to be hard to live with. So it just it just makes sense to.
And if it saves one life, it's worth it.
Yeah,
I commend Dr. Zarike and the school committee and Jim Fleming.